What is up, guys? Rogue Scrubs here, coming at you with an update on what I thought of the ban list and things for future come. Mainly, this is going to be lightsworns. I'm going to talk about that because obviously snow is banned, which is a huge loss for the deck. I mean, it's tremendous. Like, the deck is almost like unplayable, I want to say, but I'm not going to because obviously I'm still going to try and find ways to play it. But nonetheless, everybody kind of came out with a ban list video. I figured my channel should do the same. Why should the exception? Unfortunately, Charlie won't be here because it's school week. I also have school, but I figured I'd take the time out, give you guys a video and an update of my thoughts. So, for starters, I wanted to talk about, what the deck has lost with Snow, what the deck has lost also with Gold Sark, because that's also a secondary thing. A lot of people I know have noticed, oh, we lost Soul Charge. I didn't really like that card to begin with, but I know that's a huge powerhouse card for other people. Gold Sark, on the other hand, though, was a huge hit for the deck as well. The reason for this is Giant Rex was just such an amazing extender. Of course, this combo with Snow, but just in general, having a one card free level 4 is just such an amazing thing to have in this deck. And the same is with Balancer Lord too, because being able to have those multiple copies gives you that, get the wolves out of the hand and things like that was a huge, huge deal. Next up, I want to talk about also, now that Snow is gone, the deck doesn't have a power play. The ideal play turn 1 was to end on Curious with Nad Beast and Snow. I like to go first. That is not going to happen anymore. I don't think you can go first with lightsworns. I know some people actually enjoyed opting second anyway and made it evenly matched. I think that's a huge opportunity now, definitely to shine, because you definitely need to go second now. First off, you want the extra card. Second off, you don't have a Snow to set up. And third off, I think you have to play JD now because the Snow is gone. Your power cards are no longer there. You need a way to be able to clear. You need a way to sort of recover. Lightsworns are never really the best at that, even though they do play with their graveyard. Without Snow, there's no really managing those resources. So Gold Sark was a huge hit. Snow obviously being it. So that takes you figure a good 7 to 8 cards if you played 3 Gold Sark, 3 Snow, and then the 1 Giant Rex and the 1 Balancer Lord. And if you played Spirit Master, that's even 9 cards potentially. Yeah, so overall, I think this is just the worst possible situation for Lightsworns too, especially because Brilliant Fusion went away, so you don't even have a nice way to possibly even combo off more with Saryuja. When it goes moving on though into the future and what my ideas have been thinking, I still think the best way to play it is going to be using Eclipse Wyverns and JDs. You're definitely, like I said, you're going to want to go second. The reason for this is because, first of all, you want the extra card since you don't have cards to unbrick your hand like Balancer Lord anymore. That's important. And also playing JD, you're adding 3, technically 5 more bricks to your deck with the 2 Eclipse Wyverns. I was also really sad to see that the ban list didn't even give us 3 Damage Juggler back, because that would have at least been a little bit nicer. Yeah. Nonetheless, making Nad Beast with no Snow Engrave going first is just absolutely out of the question, if you ask me, because it's not going to win you the game. 1 Nad Beast is not going to be enough. You need some kind of trap, some kind of follow-ups. It's one thing, and when I play Raccoons and stuff like that, which Raccoons is a deck, on the other hand, I think actually benefit from this list due to 3 Slumbers, which I'll hopefully get you guys an update on that. Lightsworns, on the other hand, is going to take a little while. I've definitely been thinking about a lot of different things I could try, looking mainly for banish resources. One of the biggest problems, too, is that Eclipse Wyvern needs an easy, consistent way to banish cards from your graveyard. When you don't have Snow, there's a very limited pool that can do that. Obviously, the first resources, or you have the Collapse Serpents, because you can play the Dark one to banish the Light monster and special summon it, and then potentially search out a Light one. It's not a bad play. We also now have the first version of Gigantes and Aqua Spirit for Lightsworns, which is Diana the Light. It's a Thunder card that came in Soul Fusion. That also does the same thing. You can banish the Eclipse Wyvern and special summon that. However, the end result of this is, the problem is that if you mill these cards, they do nothing in your graveyard for you, and you have to hard draw them first. Snow, on the other hand, was one of those cards, yet again, the best card ever, because if you milled it, it was live. If it was in your hand, you could always get it to the graveyard. It's not a big deal. Snow was consistent. What I think Lightsworns need right now is they need a way to consistently either be able to banish Eclipse Wyvern from graveyard with either some kind of card of their own, whether it's anything really that would banish a card from graveyard. It could be maybe you want to play Pill, maybe you want to play other things. You need some kind of other engine definitely to supplement it, and in order to have that kind of power plays. Personally, I was really trying to think beside the box, like I said. One of the cards I had thought was oh, this might be cool, would be number 80 Rhapsody, which is the Exceed monster. You can detach material, banish a card from your opponent's graveyard, unfortunately, which doesn't work. I was really sad to see that, because if we had a Rhapsody for the extra deck for lightsworns, it would be much more consistent to play the Eclipse Wyvern, because then you could just always have access to a way to banish a card out of your graveyard. But without that access, it's really, really hard. Because Rhapsody just would have been perfectly fine, because you could just slam 2 level 4s on the board, banish your Eclipse Wyverns, and then grab back your JDs. But without that, you need some kind of power play. The other thing is bumping up the Destrudo to 3, potentially. As most people have seen, the Destrudo Mare combo is still a really, really powerful card. And considering the deck already played Destrudo, you could definitely put 2 more copies in there and play the Mare. However, you still have the chance of milling Mare, which isn't like necessarily the best thing ever either. All in all, I think that this deck is definitely going to need some kind of support, and I don't doubt that Konami will actually give it to them. So Lightsworns is always going to be a fan favorite. There's a reason Curious was made in the beginning, and it gets people attracted to the game. It's a nostalgic deck. There's no way it's going to stop. It's based on, the Catholic lore. There's going to be like a ton of cards for it that'll always keep coming. As far as when we get them, I have no idea. It might be a little while, but hey, Konami might be generous and be like, oh, we'll give you some better Twilight Sworn cards. When people always ask me about like Twilight Sworns, and my general opinion on them is that they just do way too contradicting things. Even though you can banish cards now with your Wyverns and potentially even search them, it's still just not good enough in my opinion. The Twilight Sworns are just super flawed, if you ask me, when it comes to that, because they require your normal summon or to have your Lumina. The only benefit to them is that you get an extra draw power card due to a Lore of Darkness. What I am hoping, though, for a set that actually doesn't necessarily resonate with Lightsworns, that will hopefully maybe give it a little more power, is actually Time Thieves. That came out in Savage Strike. I've picked up all the comments so far. I'm hoping they get more support. So the reason I like Time Thieves a lot, potentially in this deck too, is because first of all, it gives the deck a Rescue Rabbit, which is Redoer. The deck never really had a Rescue Rabbit for 2 level 4s, because you never want to play vanillas, and due to the fact that you've milled them, they do no effects. The good thing is, Time Thieves actually have effects in graveyard, such as Basil Ship, and Redoer. Redoer, when it dies, you bring back the Rescue Cap banished in the field. And Basil Ship is you can detach an XYZ material, often exceed monster, and special summon it from your graveyard, and it's a quick effect tribute to banish card. This is like pretty good for the Lightsworns, and the reason is that Minerva is never going to use its second material, ever. You're either going to suicide it, they're going to get around it, they're going to spin it back. Almost never will you have the second material of Minerva. So I think Time Thieves are really good extenders, because of the fact that the Winder, also allows you to detach special and its Stratos on summon. And like I said, with that Rescue Rabbit, it's a pretty nice effect. The other best thing about that is that the Time Thieves actually have those graveyard effects. So when like Minerva dies, you can bring back the Redoer. And the Basil Ship, if you milled it, you can even bring it back too. The biggest concern still is that all the Time Thieves are dark, and that doesn't really help you synergize really with Curious. But you can also, like I said, play those 3 Destrudos, and potentially even add the Mothmans in to make that dark synergy, and hopefully maybe try and get a Destrudo off that way. But yeah, overall, like I said, this deck has to go second now. It definitely lost a lot of its power. It was sad to see it, obviously, in the ban list. It's not like, I didn't love that deck. I was happy to see, though, that a couple of people have actually topped with the Lightsworn deck, and that, the impact of the channel actually made a difference. Somebody actually topped with it. Congrats to him and getting the top 8. Overall, though, it's definitely like a sad day to see such an awesome deck go, because I thought that this deck was like a lot of fun. Controlling out your game with Snow was just like so much fun. And that's pretty much it as far as what I thought of the ban list. Obviously, there was a bunch of other cards. I wasn't really going to talk to you guys about any of the other bans. I love the fact that Soul Char's gone, personally, because I think it's just a sack card. Grinder Golem needed to go, some other things like that. But most people are like focused on that. Obviously, most of you guys are subscribed for Lightsworns, so that's why I was making this video, and I just wanted to talk to you guys about it. So yeah, all right. I think that's all I had to say. Feel free to leave your any other further questions in the comments, and I will definitely answer them. Rogue Scrubs out.